Now, the Marvel Cinematic Universe is filled with some of the most compelling characters to have hit our big screen. One of the most beloved characters is Thor, a character that many fans have grown to love throughout the MCU films. He's a character that's based on Norse mythology, and his story has been told over 2 millennia. In this video, however, I want to focus on the MCU's rendition of the character. Characters like Thor and Iron Man may be fictional, but the lessons that we can learn from them are applicable to our day-to-day lives. Hey guys, this is Wawan your kawan, and here are 4 lessons that we can learn from Thor on being worthy. Number 1. Now, it's not about the tools that we have, but it's about the person who's wielding them. We tend to hear people talk a lot about how they can't get things done because of their lack of resources. Whether they're talking about in school, businesses, or any other aspects in their lives. Now, I completely understand and agree that a lack of resources can actually hinder our growth or actually just slow it down. And there are people who are in actual dire situations that it would take more for them than just a change of mindset to actually move forward in life. On the other hand, there's also a lot of us who are living in abundance, and yet we feel like we don't have enough to make things happen. One of the most important lessons I've learned from Thor is that when it comes to the weapon Mjolnir, is that no matter how amazing of a weapon it is, that it can't be wielded by just anyone. You actually have to be worthy. In the MCU, only 2 characters have wielded Mjolnir. Thor himself, of course, and Captain America. Now, what made them worthy was actually their good hearts, skills, and strength to do the right thing. Now, the same weapon could be in the hands of someone else, and yet it would be useless. So for example, in my own life, I make videos for both a living and as a passion. And I try my best to never get too caught up in, say, getting fancier lights, cameras, or other equipments. Now, although I do plan to get better equipments eventually, but I shouldn't let this idea of, having all the perfect gears in one room stop me from actually producing something good at the moment. It's not about the tools that we have, but it's about the man behind them. Number 2, humility is needed to be a good leader. Humility is usually a character trait that's confused with being meek or shy. But in reality, to practice humility, you need real strength. Thor started out as this arrogant guy who thinks he's above everyone else and that he's all that. Odin realized that if he continued to allow his son Thor to continue to act this way, then Thor would just end up being another warmongering king, He would just end up following in both Odin and Hela's footsteps when they were out conquering other realms. Odin then banished Thor to Earth, and he put a spell on Mjolnir so that only those who are worthy can wield it. But this time around, worthiness does not mean good looks, lineage, or jock-like skills. Rather, it means wisdom, humility, and selflessness. It was when Thor learned humility and self-sacrifice was when he was finally worthy again to wield Mjolnir. Now at this point, Odin finally viewed him fit to be king. Number 3, life isn't about conquering the whole world, but it's about mastering our own little world. Now, a lot of us have imagined living our lives like kings, having servants to meet our demands at every second of the day and also being adored by thousands. Now, if you look at the hints from the MCU films, we can tell that Thor had actually led a very large life. In the first Thor movie, we can see Thor celebrating in a big way after he was victorious in one of his conquests, and he would still want to go from conquest to conquest to further feed his ego. By the end of the movie, you can see how his character matured, and it was by the end of the second film you could see how he would take this a step further. At the end of Thor: The Dark World, Thor rejected Odin's offer to become king. Instead, he decided to lead a normal life on Midgard with the love of his life, Jane, the woman who actually taught him humility and selflessness during his time on Earth. Now, this move by Thor is equivalent to a king who would leave his palace and become a farmer. At this point of Thor's life, he would rather become a good man than a good king. He realized that life is a lot more than just about conquering and ruling. Now, the whole situation is a bit ironic because now he's perfect for the throne, considering that he no longer lusts for power or glory. Now, the biggest takeaway from this move from Thor is that we should focus on becoming good people rather than demanding things from the world. Number 4, it's okay to not be okay. In Avengers Endgame, we see Thor suffering from PTSD. He had put on a few pounds and he was drinking beer, playing video games all day and just feeling sorry for himself. And yet we see later in the film how he was still worthy and able to wield both Mjolnir and Stormbreaker. This is probably one of the biggest lessons for us mere mortals, as we see that Thor had suffered such a big loss from, his defeat and all that, and yet at the end of the day he was still deemed worthy. This just shows that even the best of us can fall at times, and that, just because we're broken and we're feeling beaten, it doesn't take our worth away from us. That sometimes all we have to do is just get back up and make the best of things. Once again, guys, Thor is a fictional character, and that, a lot of us are not going to be be tested in the crazy way that he has, you know. Most of us are not going to be tempted to a throne or even like, you know, a weapon that was forged in the heart of a dying star. So all these things could be analogies for us to kind of like apply it and understand where it would fit in our own lives, you know. So all these lessons really could all actually just be beneficial for us as long as we're sincere in our efforts and we do our best. So that's all that we have for this video, guys. I'm Wawan, your kawan, and thank you for tuning in. Hey guys, my name is Wawan. For those of you who are new to this channel, you know, I think, you know, you guys are awesome and thank you so much for spending some time here with me. You know, as I'm growing my channel, I would also love it if you guys could kind of like be a part of that journey and help me grow the channel to have 1,000 subs, you know. So if you could, you know, click like, subscribe to the video, leave your comment on what could be improved on, that would be very much appreciated. To everyone who's watching the channel right now, may peace be with you and I love you all. Have a good one, guys. At the beginning, he was still the mighty Thor. The mighty Thor! You're worthy! You're worthy because you're watching Wawan my kawan. You're worthy! You're worthy! Everyone's worthy! You're worthy! You're worthy! You're worthy! You're worthy! It's gonna make it to the bloopers.